Scott Jensen's my visual age speech with 5 members of my audience and my cards. Somebody's calling me right now. Okay. Football is one of the greatest games ever created because of the complexities and schemes that go with playing a football game. It's said that great defenses win championships. That can be seen throughout history, throughout the game of NFL and college football. My name is Scott Jensen. I intend to teach you all the defensive schemes and defensive positions for the defensive side of the football through my experience as a coach and player. First off, before you know the schemes, you should know the 3 different types of football positions. There's the defensive linemen, which are the big guys. They fall into 3 different groups. There's the defensive ends, which line up on the outside of the offensive lineman right here, and they work to rush the quarterback and the blocking line. And then there's defensive tackles, which are the bigger interior linemen that will line up usually over the guards, which are the linemen outside of the centers, and their job is the same as well. And in an odd man front, 3-man front, there'll be a nose tackle, which will line up right over the center, which is usually the biggest football player you can find. It's the most physically demanding position of all football. The next positions are my favorite positions, the linebackers. Those guys are responsible for stuffing the running back and, in pass plays, dropping into coverage or blitzing. So the first one's inside linebacker. They usually line up, this is the box here. Inside linebackers will line up anywhere between here. So, and particular defense, there might be 1 linebacker right over the center, or there could be, in an odd man front, there could be 2. 1 right here, and 1 right here. And their job as inside linebackers is to be able to take on the offensive lineman block and stop the run. In addition to inside linebackers, there's the outside linebackers, which traditionally line up just outside the tackle box or right on the line. Their job is to contain runs to the outside and help backside make sure the running back doesn't cut back this way. After the linebackers, you have defensive backs. There's 4 of them, sometimes 5, called cornerbacks and safeties. Cornerbacks are the speediest guys in the defense, and they're required to cover the receivers one-on-one most of the time. Safeties are a little bit bigger and a little bit more aggressive, and they help out with run support, and they cover the deep field. They're more like center fielders in baseball. Since I told you about all the positions, now I could show you all of the defensive schemes. The first scheme that we used at my high school is probably one I'm most familiar with and the most traditional of any football team, is a 4-3 defense. The 4 means 4 defensive linemen, the 3 means 3 linebackers. So in a 4-3 defense, you have 2 defensive ends, 2 defensive tackles. You have the backside end, the outside of the lineman, and then any combination of the 2 tackles within these 3 guys. And then you can have the end on the outside of the tight end or the tackle. It was common for us in my school to put them over the tackle. Next, you put the linebackers here. The first outside linebacker goes over the tight end. Second, middle linebacker, the inside linebacker goes directly over the middle. The weak side linebacker lines up backside. And then with 4-3, you have 7 players, and there's 4 players left to be put on the field, so you have 4 defensive backs. When you're creating a 4-3 defensive scheme, you have to look at the gaps that that the offense creates, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you have 7 guys in the box, which is the traditional normal number for a balanced offense. So every guy is responsible for their gap. The next defense is one that's being more commonly used in the NFL and other teams, called 3-4, which is just reversed, meaning there's 3 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers. So in an odd man front, you get a nose tackle. It's a big guy. Then you have bigger defensive ends. And these guys, alignments, you could switch up a little bit. And then you have 4 linebackers, so you have 1 inside backer, and another inside backer, an outside linebacker here to line up over the tight end, and then one guy backside. And then since you have 4 guys left, you have 4 defensive backs again. This defense is used for more blitzing opportunities, potentially confuse the quarterback, and more speed. This is the defense that both Super Bowl teams have this year, Green Bay Packers and Steelers. Blast defense is becoming more popular in college and high school. It's called a 3-3 defense. It's not very popular in the NFL because it doesn't work very well because of the talent level of NFL players. But you typically see a 3-3-5. When you have spread teams with 3 or 4 receivers. So you go with 3-man defensive linemen, 3 linebackers. So you have your tackle, your nose, and your tackle usually stacked. And then a backer, they're directly over each other. It's a 6-man front for 6-man rushing opportunity, and you can create all kinds of blitzes and stuff. So with a 3-3, you have 5 players left to put on the board, so you end up with another safety. All this does is give you more speed to the outside to defend the spread option, which is what a lot of college teams do, try to get the ball in space. Where you get in trouble with this defense is when they start putting more guys back in the box and trying to run the ball. If you're familiar with Michigan football, this is why they failed this year, because they tried running this in a high-powered offensive conference. Other defenses that have faded away was the 46 Bear defense was popular in the 80s when the Bears were considered the greatest defense of all time, but that only worked until quarterbacks started passing more, and nobody uses that defense anymore. Then there's the 5-2, which is 5 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers. That really didn't help out for the passing either. And then there's, in addition to the 3-3, there's another spread defense called the 4-2, which is 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. That is gaining popularity, but it's not quite as effective as a 3-3 because it doesn't give you the blitzing opportunities and confusion. So, in conclusion, you can see great offenses put fans in the stands, but great defenses win championships. I hope that you all understand the defensive schemes that are involved when it comes to planning a football game. And great coaches create the best defensive scheme and adapt to the offenses that they're going to play. Next time you watch a football game, try to watch and see the defensive positions and the defensive schemes that are in play, because I feel that you can better enjoy a football game when you understand what's going on. Thank you.